A very good morning to one and all. It's a nice feeling to have you back today on my channel. I thank every one of you who have been a part of my channel. It meant a lot to me. It will help me to grow my channel. Today, I'm going to explain you part 2, the necklace, L.1.5 Maupasant from class 9th. Let's begin. Part 2, the necklace by L.1.5 Maupasant. They looked in the fold of her dress, in the fold of her cloak, in her pocket, everywhere. But they could not find it. As we know in the part 1, Mrs. Loisel, she couldn't find her necklace. It was missing. So this scene is after the missing of necklace. Once she discovered that the necklace was not around her neck, they started looking everywhere. The fold of her cloak means in her dresses, in their pockets. They started searching it, but they couldn't find it. Are you sure you still had it on when you left the hall? He asked. Mr. Loisel inquired to Mrs. Loisel. Are you sure you were having it? Did you check it? Yes, I touched it in the hall at the ministry. So she agreed, yes, I had it. It was there with me when I touched it in the hall. But if you had lost it in the street, we would have heard it fall. It must be in the camp. Yes, that's probably it. Did you take his number? No. So now they started discussing things. They are trying to figure out where might be fallen down, where it is. They are trying to locate the place. They start asking each other various questions, and then suddenly it strikes, maybe it is fallen in the cap. Then they start asking each other, do we have his number? They discover no. They stared at each other, stunned. At last, Loisel put his clothes on again. I'm going back, he said, over the whole route we walked and see if I can find it. Then they were so much nervous. They were in tension. They didn't know what to do. That is not their property. They have to return it back to someone else. And it is quite expensive. Though then Mr. Loisel decided, I am going back to the same road where we walked. And I'll check if I can find it. He left. She remained in her ball dress all night, her mind blank. Her husband returned at about 7 o'clock. He had found nothing. What is a ball dress here? Ball dress is nothing but a party dress, the dress which she was wearing. Then she was waiting for her husband for a long time. He returned 7 o'clock in the morning, but he found nothing. He went to the police, to the newspapers to offer a reward, to the cab companies. Everywhere the tiniest glimpse of hope led him. He went everywhere. He went to the police station, he went to the newspapers, he went even to the cab company to inquire, to ask, to take their help. Anywhere a glimpse, a smallest ray of glimpse, but he couldn't find. She waited all day in despair at this frightful disaster. She was waiting for the whole day, but nothing fruitful happened. Despair, she was sad. Loisel returned in the evening, a hollow, pale figure. He had found nothing. You must write to your friend, he said. Tell her you have broken the clasp of her necklace and that you are having it mended. It will give us time to look for some. Mr. Loisel came back in the evening, and he was empty, he was sad because he couldn't find out. And he told his wife, you have to write to your friend and say to her that clasp of the necklace, that is, what is a clasp here? Clasp is nothing but a device which is used to interlock a necklace or to fasten the necklace. So he said, "You have to tell her that it is broken and we have given it to repair. We are having it mended. So we are having it repair. I have given it to repair. So it will give us time, okay, to look for some." She wrote as he dictated. At the end of 1 week, they had lost all hope. And Loisel, who suddenly looked aged, declared, "We must consider how to replace the jewel." She wrote as her husband dictated her, as her husband told her. And 1 week passed. They were looking for it and they couldn't find, all their hope lost. So Mr. Loisel was very sad, and suddenly he looked old. He said, he declared, means he said, we must consider, we must see how we can replace the jewel. And so they went from jewelry to jewelry, looking for a necklace like the other one, consulting their memories, both sick with grief and anguish. What is anguish here? It is severe mental or physical pain. So they went to many jewelry shops, they looking whether they have any jewelry which is matching to that, and they were so sick, they were so much sad and so much mentally in trauma. In a shop, at the Palais Royal, they found a string of diamonds which seemed to be exactly what they were looking for. It was worth 40,000 francs. They could have it for 36,000. So they begged the jewelry not to sell it for 3 days, and they made an arrangement that he would take it back for 34,000 francs if the other necklace was found before the end of February. So here what happened, they went to a shop called Palais Royal, and there they found a similar necklace, but the price of the necklace was 40,000 francs. And they started bargaining, and then the jewelry person, the salesperson, he told that he's ready to sell it for 36,000. But what happened here, Mr. Loisel said that we will come back after 3 days, and for that arrangement he asked 34,000. So then I'll be paying you 34,000, but you have to wait for 3 days, until end of the February. So Mr. Loisel decided to purchase the necklace or the jewelry, the similar jewelry. So he had 18,000 francs which his father left him, and he decided to borrow the rest. So what he did, he gave notes. He made ruinous or a very disaster agreements. He went to every extreme. He dealt with every type of money lender. Then he went to get new necklace and let down on the jewelry's counter 36,000 francs. He did so much hard work. He went to every person. He did so many agreements which was on his side. It was a bad on his side. He will lose lot of money, but he did not mind. He wanted to buy that necklace because it was very, very important at that moment. They have to return it. So he made arrangement. He collected the money, 36,000. He paid the money and got the necklace. When Madame Loisel looked the necklace back, or she took the necklace back, Madame Forrestal said coldly, "You should have returned it sooner. I might have needed it." So Madame Loisel, she took the necklace and she gave it to Madame Forrester. And Madame Forrester was not very happy because it was late. Okay, they gave it late, and she said, "You should have given it early. I might." From then on, Madame Loisel knew the horrible life of the very poor, but she played her part heroically. The dreadful debt must be paid. She would pay it. They dismissed their maid. They changed their lodging. They rented a guard under the roof. What is a guard here? A guard is a top roof or an attic room. It's a small room. Madame Loisel and her husband were working in a very good conditions. They were having a lavish life, a life better than the poor person. He was having a job, a government job. But Madame Loisel was not happy. She wanted more and more. Now, because of the loss of this necklace, her husband was forced to take loan. And in the repayment of this loan, they had to give up many things. They gave up their maid. She had to give up her house. They rented a small house. Then she understood what a life actually is, how hardship takes a toll on us. She came to know the tragedy of housework, the odious labor. What is tragedy here? It is a hard work, a dull work, usually drudgery, domestic work, which we do washing, cleaning at home. It's a dull work. According to Mrs. Loisel, odious labor of the kitchen. What is odious here? It is unpleasant. Okay, extremely unpleasant. She washed the dishes, the dirty linen. What is linen? A cloth which we use in the kitchen to clean our kitchen counter, to clean the floor. So it is a dirty cloth. She carried the garbage down to the street every morning and carried up the water, stopping at each landing to catch her breath and dress like a commoner. Commoner is a common person. She had to bargain at markets, quarrel, and face insult over very miserable sou. Sou. What is sou? A small amount of money. Now what happened? She was having a maid at home. She was having a good house. She was having good clothes, but she was not happy. Now because of this loss, big money loss was there. Now they were under loan. So because of that reason, they were now living in a small place. And she had to do work. She had to wash the clothes. She had to do cooking. She had to fill the water. Even she had to bargain in the marketplace for a small penny, for a small amount. She had to make sure that she doesn't spend a lot of money. Now they have to work according to the budget. Each month they had to pay some loans, renew others, get more time. Mr. Loisel had to pay the loan. He worked very hard. He worked at the Ministry of Education as well as he worked at various other places. Whenever he would make money, he would pay the loan and renew the others. Her husband worked extra every evening doing account for a tradesman and often late into the night. He sat copying a manuscript at 5 sous a page. So first he used to work for doing an account for a tradesman, and in the late night he used to write manuscript. One he used to write manuscript 5 sous. One page was 5 sous he used to get. And this life, it was a very difficult time for Mr. and Mrs. Loisel. They were going through a very difficult phase. This phase lasted for 10 years. At the end of the 10 years, they had paid off everything, even the interest. So, at the end of the 10 years, they paid all the interest and all the loan was paid off. Madame Loisel looked old now. Often she brooded over the past. What would have happened if she had not lost the necklace? How strange life is, how fickle, how little is needed for one to be ruined or saved. Madame Loisel often she used to have a deep thinking. She used to think, if I would have not lost the necklace, then how would my life will be? How much it takes for a life to change, even in a blink of the eye. The life will change in seconds. Now I am rich, maybe I am not rich the next day. I might lose a big amount. I am healthy, maybe I'll fall sick the next day. She used to have a deep thinking within herself. One Sunday, as she was walking in the Champs-Élysées, suddenly she saw Madame Forestier, still young, still beautiful, still charming. What is the Champs-Élysées? It is a street in France. So one day, Mr. Loisel was walking Champs-Élysées. Suddenly she saw Madame Forestier. She was very young, very beautiful, very charming. Madame Loisel felt emotional. Should she speak to her? Yes, of course. And now that she had paid, she would tell her all. Why not? Madame Loisel saw Madame Forestier and she wondered if she has to talk or not. Then she decided yes, she can talk because she has paid all the debt, she had paid all the money, the loan. She went up to her. Good morning, Jane, she said. Good morning, Jane. The other, astonished to be addressed so familiarly by this common woman, did not recognize her. She stammered. Madame Forestier did not recognize Madame Loisel. But, Madam, I don't know. You must have made mistake. No, I am Mathilde Loisel. Then Madame Forestier addressed, saying, I don't remember you. Maybe you have made some mistake. Then she corrected him, saying, I am Loisel, Mrs. Loisel. Her friend uttered a cry. She was shocked and she was in sadness. Oh, my poor Mathilde, you have changed so much. How have you changed? Then Mathilde replied, yes, I have had some hard time since I last saw you, and many miseries, and all because of you. Here Mathilde started explaining why she has turned so bad, why she looks so poor. Me? How can that be? Then she blames Mr. Forrester, Mr. Forrester, and she said, How how can that be? Yes, remember that diamond necklace that you lent me to wear to the ministry party? You remember once you gave me a diamond necklace? Yes, well, I lost it. What do you mean you brought it back? Then she says, yes, I lost that. What do you mean that? You have given me back, I remember. I bought you back another exactly like it, and it was taken us 10 years to pay for it. It wasn't easy for us. We had very little, but at last it is over, and I am very glad. Then she said to Madame Forestier that it took 10 years for us to pay the loan. I gave you exactly the same one. I lost your necklace and I replaced with a new one. But it took a big toll on us. Madame Forestier was stunned. She was shocked. You say that you brought me the diamond necklace, the real diamond necklace, to replace mine. Yes, you did not notice then. They were very similar. Then she smiled with proud and innocent pleasure. Madame Forestier moved deeply, took both her hand. Oh, my poor Mathilde, mine was an imitation. It was worth 500 francs at most. Then Madame Forestier explained Mathilde that it was not an original piece, it was just an imitation, it was a duplicate of original. It was just 500 francs. It took a shock, it took a big part from Mathilde. She felt stupid maybe. I don't know what she might have felt later. But in my opinion, maybe she would have felt very, very silly and stupid. Because she lost 10 years of her life in repaying the loan. What do you think? What she might have felt? Thank you for listening to the story. I hope you have understood. Friends, kindly subscribe to my channel. It will help me. Thank you.